Hello, I'm Escatu Mask. The time of this recording is 11:54 a.m. Sunday, the 9th of October, 2022. I just got back from the hospital and grabbed a nibble and figured we'd sit down and cast this fairly lengthy teen girl squad we played last night with the Frenchmen and friends. There was a video I recorded. I believe it was 2 weeks ago when we last played, and I accidentally recorded that in half size, I believe. That was due to OBS not having profile-specific resolution settings, I believe. Or maybe it was because I was streaming with that profile and I didn't reset it for that particular thing. I'm not really sure. There was some kerfluffle with all that bullshit. Anyways, I don't know if I even have those videos. HKS told me to send them him, but I never encoded them because I planned to re-record. Because that was a worthwhile game to discuss a variety of things with, particularly the possibility that it is possible to permanently CC someone in the game, so long as you have mana, just with one person. And that was obviously unacceptable. And I talked a lot about War Stomp and how overpowered that was, and some of the other changes, and of course the disastrous patches that Blizzard released in their effort to kill the game and push people to their latest grift, which is of course Overweight 2. And I don't know if that video exists. If it does, maybe I'll encode it and send it to HKS, and you'll have a half-size video to watch that discusses that. Because I don't plan to rehash that stuff. It's going to be a long game as it is. Oh, we'll do our primer first. There's a few things I need to talk about, but I'll get into that when we start. So it's myself with Ricky and High Zealot and Stick of Punag. We're up against Qtaminas and Emu, Higgs, and Thalole. So, it's a 4 versus 4 even teams this time around. I believe the last one was not. So, my right arm is kind of sore from using a cane all day long, and I'm going to have to be a little... try to use arrow keys today. So, first up, there's been a lot of major changes to the map, and HKS was trying to kind of solve some of the issues we have with the imbalance between lumber and gold, and especially later on in the game, the kind of trend you have right now is just like one person gets items, right? But not everybody goes a wave clear. And HKS discovered that you do actually get gold from your waves killing stuff. It's 1 gold each kill. So I'm actually not entirely sure if it's an even number of units per wave or not. At beginning or at end, or if they can get if it's always the same amount that they get or not. But basically there was a lot of emphasis on last hitting. Now, last hitting is kind of a stupid artificial skill ceiling thing that hasn't ever really contributed to any of the games it's been a part of. You make a lot of arguments about the technical specifics of last hitting in like League or whatever, but in Warcraft 3, where the controls are so sluggish and there's such a huge input latency between everything you do, plus the pathfinding, a lot of last hitting is more like fighting the system than actually exerting any amount of skill. So it's always been really awkward at the best of times. And then you gotta talk about stuff like, attack damage builds versus casters and AoE, and we've had these little discussions throughout these videos where, for example, the hero that Steak is playing has that passive chance to deal damage on hit, and that's better for last hitting. you know, having higher base damage, a higher primary stat as your starter means more base damage, means higher, easier chance to last hit. And of course, at the end of the day, you just want to build Carrion Swarm, Flame Strike. But generally speaking, Carrion Swarm. And then we talked about Incinerate as well. And yeah, it's kind of awkward. HKS changed it so that the bounty for unit kills gets distributed amongst the team evenly as opposed to individual gold. So now when your wave kills shit, it's not like the gold just disappears into a vacuum. So that, of course, is going to create an imbalance later on, right? Like, you're reaching a point where you're getting a lot of gold income anyways. As you get spells, unless you're building like Zilla sometimes builds, or you build like auras or whatever, you pretty much just never get any golds, right? Like the support role doesn't get anything. And then we look at how other games have dealt with that kind of problem with like gold injections, like what League of Legends does, or Words or whatever. It just gets to be stupid. It's just a terrible design altogether. And then of course we have the problem with the army upgrades, where that also uses gold, right? So if you are making gold, you probably want to upgrade your... HKS is about to die. You probably... you probably want to upgrade your minions, especially like the siege and stuff, right? Especially with the changes to the buildings. But now that's gold that doesn't go towards your items. And then as the aside, you have the lumber, which is given when you level up. And it's given through the lumber bonus every, I think, like 3, 4, 5 minutes. And then you get the lumber from kills. So when your creeps kill someone, it gives you some gold. When you kill someone, you get a lumber. So you would get snowballing pretty heavily in this. When you saw the other games that were early kills I mentioned, you get lumber from kills. We've seen some of that lumber disparity in some of these replays. At the end of the game, when you see a disparity of like... I think I've seen disparities of like 70 to 50 something. It doesn't really seem like a lot at the end of the game, but at the early part of the game, when that lumber from a couple early kills is turning into more damage on, say, Carrion Swarm, that's then turning into more wave clear, yeah, it's kind of a big deal. But at the same time, you can't turn that lead into something else, right? Like, that gold doesn't get turned into items or whatever. So it snowballs in kind of a strange way. Now, I guess HKS felt like that something could be done better than that. So he had the idea. He proposed this to me about an hour or 2 hours before we started the game. And I had to run off to the hospital. So I was not going to be able to really give much feedback or really any... I hadn't even thought of this. So he just kind of sprung it on me. He said, just get rid of lumber. Make... well, right now you buy lumber. Like, lumber doesn't get given to you. You still use lumber to buy skills. Because you don't want to give people a whole ton of gold at the beginning of the game. But you have to buy the lumber otherwise. So then all those bonuses, you know, from kills or whatever, that turns into just gold. And you do lose gold when you die. And then you've got the minions killing, giving actual bounty now. So we had no idea what was going to happen when we did this. Other than that, it was probably going to be a mess. So the real short of it is that early on, skill upgrades are basically non-existent. So I actually went Acid Bomber early on because I thought it did a little bit more damage than it does. Bill's going to take Flame Strike early on, and what we're going to see is Bill's going to just take command of the game pretty much. And that's because he's going to be the only person making gold out of pretty much everybody on the map. It's not a huge lead right now. Stake is even with him, but everybody else is just shy of half of him or slightly over half of him. But the disparity will grow once he starts getting 1 or 2 levels into it. And we're going to see a snowball of colossal proportions. So as far as the other builds are concerned, we're going to see High Zealot take Carrion Swarm and then kind of a mix. Stake is going to take like Bash and Critical Strike. HKS is going to eventually take Berserk. And maybe Bash and some other stuff. I don't know. He goes more physical. And Thought Lolly is going to take Hex and Soulburn just like the last game, but he doesn't know how to space them out, so he's going to commonly build them both at once. Ricky's going to take Thunderclap. I don't know if he's going to take War Stomp. I really didn't see him do too much in this until later on. And then Q is going to take all support, actually. All healing. And maybe auras. So and then I will take Acid Bomb. And I will level that. And I'm going to try to do something really... I'm going to be kind of a troll in this game. Until I realize we're going to lose very badly if I continue to not take the game seriously. Because it's like... Ricky's going to continue to spend all of his money on creeps. And the creeps are going to push into them, and we're going to get basically no golds. And... yeah, you can just write out items entirely. So we will see this. So High Zealot does take feedback early on, but I'm not sure what his game plan was, but he will take Carrion Swarm eventually. So there's no kill threat on the entire map at all. And what kind of happens is because the gold income is so slow, and even if you're getting more overall gold because of the bounties, that's nothing compared to the initial bursts of leveling up. And then maybe getting an incidental kill out of a power spike. Because it's still 500 gold to lumber, and when you get 4 players, it's not really a lot, especially early on. So the player's health, the base health, will very, very quickly outscale your bonuses. Now, I think there's a... yeah, I died early on. I really wanted Bill. I'll die a lot in this game, actually. I definitely wasn't in a good state of mind coming into this, and I wasn't taking it very seriously. My life is a disaster, and like I said, I just came back from the... This was our first game of the night, and I just came back from the hospital, and I've had the worst, like, week of my life since Smokey died last year, close to this time last year, actually. Each and every single year around this time, we've had just mounting disaster. We had Snowball's death, and then we had Smokey's death, and now shit's getting, like, extremely bad, and then I gotta deal with the landlord on top of it. Like, it's, yeah, not doing too good. It's, we very likely won't be able to continue these casts for much longer. I'm just not going to be able to. So it's, maybe I'll do text-to-speech or something if I still have internet. I think there's a middle ground between where we're at currently, where the early game is extraordinarily slow, and then before, where you saw a massive spike around level 4 or level 5 because they were such easy levels to get. If someone died early on like I did there, plus a bunch of levels, you could actually get an ultimate really early. Or when it was more efficient, generally speaking, is leveling up CC and then grabbing something else. And jumping someone. And then you could snowball off of that all the way until the mid or late game, depending what you did. But you're going to actually see a very hard snowball here in a different kind of way, which is going to be Bill. When he's proactive about wave clearing, his CS will just skyrocket. Right now, he's not being proactive about wave clearing, and his Flame Strike isn't quite at the level where he can really do that. But he will eventually reach a point where he'll be the only one in the entire game making money. And that just means that the strong will continue to get stronger. And then by him taking the CS, the ambient gold will drop for the rest of his team, and they will kind of slow down. And since we will be pushed against them because of Ricky, I guess he died over here. since sorry, my brain is really fucking fried. I was like fucking around with HKS here. You'll notice instead of, I just thought early on I might be able to make more use of towers because the towers will deal more damage and get more last hits. Because Ricky is dumping all his money into creep upgrades anyways, we're actually going to be basically permanently pushed against them, which works against my strategy of getting early money off of the tower kills. Because the tower will pay for itself. It's 500 gold plus the peasant, which is like 75. The tower will pay for itself just off of a couple of waves. But the waves have to be against it, and the tower has to survive. But I took acid bomb, so I literally have nothing. I'm using Jaina's innate ability, which I think HKS did maybe. If he didn't fix it, it just wasn't as derped in this because I wasn't taking Frost Nova. But it didn't derp as much. But the damage on it was so awful that I really was just using it just for Frost Nova's slow effect to harass people. But the hotkeys are super awkward. But yeah, since Ricky's upgrading the minions, we're going to be pushed against them all the time, which makes it really hard to use the towers in the way I'm hoping. But it's nice when they do work, because they're quite efficient at last hitting, even when you're not trying to babysit them. The problem is I will often try to micro the towers to attack Bill just to be annoying, and it will get me killed elsewhere on the map because I'm not paying attention. So, you see, High Zealot's trying to be a pain here. So, early on there was like no coins in the bottom of the map at all, but so I'm just gonna pretty much put all my money in the towers right away, figuring that since they were pushing a lot on bottom, I could just farm the wave off of that. But Bill actually rotates out of that lane pretty early, and I don't see him again for a while, and our wave just pushes against them really hard. So, because I think what happens is they all went for like early upgrades and spells and stuff. And the other problem, of course, is that since I don't have anything that really does damage myself, it's only the towers that are getting me money. And they don't always get the last hits, right? So. Oh man, if Thai Loli could, oh, he did kill. I was gonna say, that has a long range to it. That's pretty long. If Thai Loli had higher reflexes, he could have secured that kill a lot faster though. Ricky was just about to get away. Maybe he had to like reach over and click the ability or something, I'm not sure. They all have homogenized hotkeys now, so if that's something he's doing, he could learn those hotkeys and they'll always be the same for any ability in that part of the command card. So that way you always know that if you got something on the bottom left, it's always going to be Q. You know, it's much easier to learn those than you have to learn individual hotkeys. So I think they did get some minion upgrades. Looks like they got Demolisher and ranged weapons. But we're still kind of pushing against them pretty hard here. Top and middle are sort of about even. You saw Ricky got early peasants too, right? Now, one thing I've always been a little ho-hum about is we're going to see it affect this game, actually. I think this will be the first time I've ever really seen it dramatically affect the game as it does here. Horde get that fortified building upgrade, but Alliance don't. Now, the towers that I build are fortified, but our other towers are not. And you can see, because he's level 8 already, the 100 damage flame tower does no damage to him at all. Like, if he wanted to dive me and kill me, he could, and there was pretty much nothing I could do about it. I'm actually really struggling to micro the peasant and get my hero out of the way, and I was just fat fingering it, and then the catapult killed him. Now, normally this might deter you because you're not making much money off of it. You're pushing really hard against them anyways, and your peasant just died, and it takes him so long to navigate the map. It will not deter me. I'm just gonna try to milk other lanes. So High Zealot seems to be trying to counter Bill in a way, but it's not really going so well. And They're pushing against us pretty hard in the middle here because they've been in there all game now. Bill's starting to upgrade Flame Strike, but not getting too much out of it at the moment. He has taken the lead in creep score just by a little bit. I do have the second highest somehow. As the creeps get pushed into the tower, I pick up individual CS, and I was thinking, well, they're pushing in middle, so I'll just build a tower over here and kind of stick it out of the way, and I might get a couple kills, and I think it gets a few. I don't know if it ever pays for itself, but we won't stay pushed in middle. And Acid Bomb was just such a terrible idea. I had really underestimated how hard the early game was going to be. Even if I had invested all completely into Acid Bomb instead of towers, it would take 2 towers for 1 level in Acid Bomb. And Acid Bomb only starts doing really major damage around level 8, level 10. And it was just not worth taking. I should have taken... well, really, Chain Lightning is pretty good. Well, Carrion Swarm is good too, of course, but Chain Lightning would have been just safer to take for securing gold. I thought we were going to be swimming in gold because of the bounty, but it does not turn out that way. So Bill actually takes Blizzard and Flame Strike. Blizzard, I'm not sure if it does damage to air units. Both of them cause the creeps to scatter, I think, and Steak is trying to get some damage here with a Claws of Attack. He barely... I think this is where I was focusing on a Bill. I was paying attention to bottom lane, and I'm not going to walk into the towers and die or something here. Because Bill kept running around here so low on health. And the towers do have a little bit of range, so this is particular where I was doing that. And I kind of just wasn't paying attention here. I didn't think my hero was just going to run forward and die. Because last I looked at my hero, I was behind the lane. But the hero like auto-acquired Q and then just decided just to ignore everything and charge forward. And I was like, what the fuck? How did I die? I never actually saw how I died. I just knew it had to have been something stupid. Q is a little confused. I was confused. So, yeah, definitely not a good game for me at all. So, yeah, I was trying to pluck. He was like 1 or 2 hits from being killed on bottom. But the Frost Tower was a little too far back to slow him anyways. And their damage was a lot shittier than... Like, they're even having a hard time killing the Kodo Beast. You want, like, the Death Towers or whatever, but they might be shorter range, and they're also 1,000 gold. So I kind of wasn't willing to put 1,000 gold into a corner down there. So I had other strategies in mind that will show up at some point. Otherwise, yeah, like this is more of a tame early game than what you normally see. I mean, we've had casted a few low kill games, but nope. That was a battle of the Titans, a real battle of. So, Steak actually took Slow Poison, which HKS had buffed a little while ago, and it helped him quite a bit. Because nobody has the free resources to invest in the skills to escape or really fight him, right? Nobody has like Blank or Mass Teleport or any like evasion or whatever, because they're all trying to get like their core skill to something manageable. Like Bill's not quite starting to go up yet. Ricky doesn't really do anything either. And, you know, just like securing kills is so hard. And Acid Bomb does like nothing. I think that was my shitty Carrion Swarm off of the spellbook. It does like 75 base damage. I was absolutely shocked it actually killed him because usually at this point in the game it doesn't do anything. So fights are really scrappy. So they actually have a level advantage on us kind of across the board, which I believe is in part killing the minions. Oh yeah, Ricky ran in there and died. That happens a couple times. So yeah, just killing some of the camps or whatever gave them a little bit of a level advantage, which normally would have put them even further ahead on lumber, but at this point it's not happening. So now they got the fortified upgrades. Now all their base towers are also fortified, but Alliance can't get that upgrade. So it makes it a lot harder to push them, which isn't in itself necessarily a bad thing, but there is no Alliance equivalent for that upgrade. It's one of the few things that there is no equivalent in the game. So maybe Alliance should also have an upgrade for that as well. I also feel like the upgrade is kind of too cheap for what it does, but that's more in the context of this game. In the other games, usually the towers just go down really fast. It doesn't really matter. And that doesn't really do too much to slow them down except for the first parts of the game. But in this parts of the game, we're not looking at everybody having oceans of wave clear, so it's a lot harder to clear the waves in general. But we are always pushed against them because of those upgrades that Ricky took. So Bill is... I don't really think Blizzard was worth it for Bill at all. I think Chain Lightning would have been better. Because it's two long-channeled abilities, and Flame Strike alone is generally enough to kill a lot of base stuff. And then the stragglers are what you want to hit. And Blizzard isn't the best for hitting them because both of them cause them to scatter. So his wave clear isn't as efficient as it could be. Oh, the other added bonus is that Bill can kill himself with either ability. And they kill his minions and deny his gold. So in a way, denying is stronger now than it is normally. So again, they don't really have the ability to do anything. And we eventually murder HKS. He just can't. He literally can't do anything. Just being fat and tanky early on keeps you safe when enemies don't have any way to punish you or control you at this point. Just a scatter. I like that it went back and then I tried to go back in. Because the pathing, I don't think it sees other units at all. So I had the idea that if the waves were going to be permanently pushed against them, there wasn't really too much I could do about that. I might be able to farm the creep camps. The problem is, and I had to ask HKS after this started to become evident, is the creep camps on these sides do not respawn until all of them are dead, because HKS didn't want to deal with setting up conditions for each and every single one because it's so finicky and touchy as it is. HKS already had a lot of problems trying to get the drops to work. Even that was really inconsistent. So I don't do anything. I am literally useless, but I had hoped I could set up a farm bill over here and just kill the weak camps and let them respawn over and over again. But it turns out you have to kill the Hydras to do that, and the Hydras deal chaos damage. Even the turtles alone are difficult to set up a farm for because they also deal chaos damage. The Murlocs, on the other hand, are really easy to do this to. This peasant had been attacking that gold coin on and off for like half an hour. So it looks like I am harassing them here, but I have no actual kill potential. That Carrion Swarm, again, that's the spellbook Carrion Swarm. It doesn't do anything. Meanwhile, Steak goes in hard and actually gets away, astonishingly. So again, always permanently pushed. Makes it harder for us to make money. Bill's getting a little sassy here. So High Zealot can kind of like slow down Bill. Everybody's kind of like playing their own game at this point. The Blizzard does like no damage. I'm just being a nuisance. Like, I don't possess any kill threat. I'm actually really hoping that they just don't go to their creep camps too, because I realize that towers don't deal enough damage to kill people. My Farmville relied a lot on secrecy. It's doing it on their part of the map, for example. But then I will later learn that I can't do anything about... I did not see this. I knew that High Zealot was running over here, but they discover Farmville. And then I realized the Hydras need to die, and at first I had dreams of setting up a way to kill the Hydras, but while it's possible, I think you're gonna need like a dozen or more Death Towers there, because their damage and their health is quite high. So I'm just continuing to level Acid Bomb, and it's not helping. And a lot of my gold is going to towers, so I'm not really contributing. Oh, it does do damage to area units. Maybe that's why he took it, because Flame Strike doesn't deal damage to area units, but that does. So Snake is clearing out the camps here, or at least some of them. And I've got the towers, but then we had to deal with the turtles. And because of people doing shit like this in melee games quite early in Warcraft 3's life, yeah, they aggro. Yeah. The camps will aggro from quite far away when you build the towers, so at some point I have to bring my hero up there to get the turtles under control. I mean, it would still be worth it if you could reliably kill the Hydras, but doing it with Acid Bomb was gonna be not reliable. Now, the armor shred is nice to have, but it makes your minions and High Zealot kill stuff faster. It doesn't make you kill stuff faster. So Q is just all support, really. But the Holy Light does deal damage to enemies. And he will slowly tickle you to death with it. Now, our upgrades are slowly getting ahead of them, but it looks like they maybe just upgraded their melee. So we're not completely eclipsing them, but I think Ricky is a lot more dedicated to the upgrades than they are at this point. So they killed the towers here pretty easily. The towers won't threaten them at this point. They're got 3 catapults and they're level 14, 13. They won't deal any damage. Sorry, I just really like watching the siege run right into the towers. So at this point, I was starting to look at our creep score and being like, I'm too far behind Bill, and I don't like that. So I needed money, and I needed to make my farming empire, and I knew this was going to be a slower game as a result of the way things were going. But I also wanted to get like blast staffs and stuff off of the Hydras because they can drop those. I will never actually see one drop in the entire game, so killed the turtles, but now the Hydras, and now I'm like basically playing my own game at this point, which is the Hydras regenerate quite fast. They actually out regenerate the acid bomb very easily, so I needed to somehow kill them. And the only way I was going to kill them, I surmised, is if I had towers to deal damage. But the Hydras dealing 50 to 90 something chaos damage was... I mean, the towers would go down quite easily. That was about the time I asked if I needed to kill the Hydras to get the camps to respawn. I kind of telegraph what I'm doing, but at this stage, they don't really care about that. Because they don't need the shop anyways. But it reached the point where I couldn't do anything. Oh yeah, and Stako like be randomly attacking us and making my job more difficult. On the other hand, most of the members of their team aren't exactly pushing machines. Thought Loli is more of a nuisance than anything. And with our upgrades and our just, I guess High Zealot kind of like countering build to an extent, they just never really push that much out of their base anymore. But they're basically at the farming stage, right? We're feeding them money, and it's harder for us to make money even though we're getting bounty off of the kills. We're not getting as many kills, and that money is being distributed as opposed to a chunk of our money just being fed directly to them. So we're going to see their creep scores gradually escalate quite significantly. And even Tha Loli is sitting at 50, just 49, just about 50 kills. And I'm only at 61, and usually I am leading by a significant margin at this stage, with maybe one close competitor. For me to be this behind, on top of taking acid bomb, yeah. That's usually a sign of the health of the game for us as a team, that it's not going so well. Now, I wouldn't even buy boots early on. I didn't even bother. I got 2 claws of attack because they're 100 gold. But we've seen these kinds of games before where someone's pushed for a really long time. It feeds them resources. They get items or whatever, and then they hit a power spike, and then they just push out, and then you can't stop them anymore. And apparently stasis words will cause Stake a lot of grief in this game. So attempt 2 on the Hydras. Now I have a tower here. I'm trying to like ping pong the Hydras between it. When the Hydras split, I think the leash distance for the little Hydras is still where they died as opposed to where the camp was, which makes it dangerous if you're low health trying to kite them around, because then they'll chase you a lot further. Or they might destroy your tower if you're not careful, and that would be just as bad as dying. Actually, arguably worse than dying, because nobody gets gold if you die to camp. You might lose gold, but losing the tower means you lose all the setup time and then 500 gold on top of it. So they're actually pushing right into their middle here. They're under no danger. We're not going to do any damage to them. But people people do have the possibility to die here, especially. That was really a stakes kill. So our town is under attack. And I've almost got that ancient Hydra down. Bill has no idea what's taking place just behind him, but I don't think he would care anyways. He's making lots of money. Alright, so one Hydra goes down. I'm realizing that getting the towers to kill the Hydras is probably not going to happen. And Acid Bomb isn't the best way to deal with this. Acid Bomb is good for aggroing them on you, because I think when it ticks, it aggroes them. The Peasant just barely escapes. Yeah, see, these ones aren't leashing now. I think the little ones there, they're not timed, if I'm not mistaken. But I cleared them out. I can't do anything with a shop, but I think eventually I'm going to buy a mask quite relatively early in. It is 40 minutes into the game, and currently Cloud Loli has 2 kills, Horde has 3, HKS has 1, I have 2, Stake has 3, Alliance has 0, and then of course nobody else has any. But you're seeing Bill now solo laning and slowly working his way up the tree. And yeah, the gap is gonna grow a lot. So I had aspirations of killing the Hydras with towers, but there was no way I was gonna be able to afford it. Also, players were reaching power levels where they could easily knock these down if they wanted to. So, just because their base health and base armor or whatever was too high. So I got a Juggalo of Endurance off of the Hydras. It's definitely one of the more useless things for me. I don't really deal damage, and only the movement speed is really any useful. And it's not even worth selling it. So, Q... I don't know if Q took engineering upgrade or whatever, but he was... It was maybe just due to his aura. No, he doesn't have the aura. I don't know, but he just runs fast, so... Stake couldn't, like, catch up to him. So now that the Hydras are dads, the camps will eventually respawn, and I'll get some money off of it, but... Since there is a sizable investment of time and resources into that, it'll be difficult to make up that cost. So this should kill, because it is level 4, but it won't kill, because level 4 is not actually that much damage. So, long gone are the days of Acid Bomb killing people. So that interaction is going to be really common throughout the game, is that HKS getting stuck in a 1v2 against me and High Zealot, and he's pretty much completely fucked against us. That trend will continue quite a lot, actually. HKS is pretty much the only person in their entire team that actually wants to stand and fight. Everybody else either wants to hang back and CC or spam spells, or just support, like, Q, like they don't want to be that close. Whereas our team is just very, other than me, our team is very just upfront. Ricky is Thunderclap, and yeah, so and Q wants to kill my peasant, I think, but I run him away, but I think eventually he This is so stupid. So Ricky died, got CC'd, and then killed by Bill. Ricky doesn't actually do anything. Remember, all his money has gone into armoring upgrades. Arguably, he's making money for the enemies right now. He's like, the way that the map goes is he's making our lanes push against them with more units, and they're getting more money than us. So, with the way the bounty system works, it almost punishes army upgrades. So it's kind of... I don't know, it's kind of, you gotta think for a while how to do that. I think I prefer my Lord as a Legend system where army upgrades were a global timed resource and it was a team resource as opposed to an individual resource. I saw Q in there, I was like, dude, like what you see. So once again, HKS is trying to duel. Oh shit! 1 second. All right, sorry about that. I had to answer the phone. It's a weird feeling. I haven't had to use a phone my entire life. But now I gotta be on call in case, you know, something happens or whatever. So, I forgot what I was talking about. I don't know. Towers. I was not confident I could put towers down here until I had enough money to fund a lot of death towers, but that was looking increasingly unlikely to happen for the rest of the game, actually. They kind of just ignored Bill and just ran in there and murdered Lolly. And the shaman runs. Yeah, so when creeps cast the spell, they try to leash back to their origin point or whatever. And the way that waves work is there's regions in every corner that tells them to attack, move to another region. So the shamans, on the other hand, have a habit of ignoring those because they don't cover the whole lane, is what I remember. And they'll just happily run back. And yeah. So the hiders took a little bit of damage, but I tried to run in there to save them. Ricky tried to run in there to save them. But the farm was a failure. So the upgrades are still kind of close. They definitely got someone upgrading, maybe HKS or Lolly, and they're doing some damage to our lanes here and there now. I took acid bomb level 5. still living the dream. Miss. I love the stalls. It's just a very well performing game. Ricky wants to run in there. He really wants that lolly. Ishkiss is getting birds. Oh, I ran in there in an effort to do something. But then I got stunned for 50 years and then I died. I actually didn't see HKiss or Biller. I didn't see one of them there when I ran in. It's really easy to miss the both of them because they don't have the hero glow. I mean, Warcraft 3 is an unreadable game in general, but with them in particular, it's very easy to miss them. Because I think I wanted HKS, but I may not have seen Bill there. At that point, I don't think I had actually ran into Thylola too much, and I didn't realize he was just all CC again. Also, I had acid bomb, and I had no business doing that anyways. Ricky is getting stabbed slowly. Slowly but surely. Bagels in the sand by 50 cent. So I'm back up. I'm ready for round 2. There's a problem, however. Acid bomb is useless as it is, still does a little bit of damage over time. Damage that they do entirely sustain. They will entirely sustain because they have healing, and at that point I realized, oh, they actually have a team that kind of synergizes together. And there is actually nothing I can do at this point to stop them. I can try to kill the minions, and that's really about it. Now, if that Loli decides to go back, even though nothing is really doing anything here, so that's their main form of controlling me that they lost as a result of that. Acid Bomb has kind of a long cooldown, so it's not like I can spread AIDS across the entire group of minions and kill them that way. I'm kind of stuck just doing a real slow light. And you see, it's not hurting anything. It's not even doing hardly any damage to the Demolisher. That's level 5. It's not very good. But the push is dealt with, especially since Thigh Loli left them and they had no way to control anyone. There is 69 gold. So HKS is also very thirsty. Very, very thirsty. And dies. Most of the... Oh, actually, I think just about every single death in the game up to this point has been avoidable. Like, easily avoidable. Other than maybe, like, somebody getting chased down the lane by a stake or getting jumped by a stake in the back. You couldn't really get away from him, but most of the lane deaths at that point are people, like, running into things and dying stupidly. So, oh, I'm still going for Acid Bomb. Wow. I forgot how high I level that, but I do eventually get rid of it because I realize we're not doing too well. And I have to actually take the game seriously and start playing well and not using Acid Bomb. So the minions pop back up again. The Deep Lord Revenants, because they've got to use that word. They also deal chaos damage and have a lot of health. Of course, the minions scale on health, which is the other problem, right? Is the towers are only going to be effective for so much time. Stego's telling me I might be able to farm the small camps down here, but I'm not actually sure what the respawn conditions are for those. They might respawn with the turtles down here, which is still probably more realistic than the ones on the sides. But the camps are more likely to, or the waves are more likely to kill the towers, if not the players at that point. So those probably are not a bad idea overall. So Stake will get a Zeppelin, which he will actually have some success with. As you can see, Bill's CS is well more than double the closest competitor at this point, who is Q actually, just because of Holy Light dealing AoE damage. And him pushing the waves constantly. So, even though High Zealot has Carrion Swarm, his CS is lower than Thigh Loli. So he has not been aggressively using Carrion Swarm. Whoa, what did the camera just do? I don't know. So now we're starting to get pushed a lot. Because our lane presence is weaker. So I was gonna try to set up towers down here, but oh. 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 Oh! High Zealot appears, secures a kill. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Oh. I thought he was going to deny himself. So, Mistake got 2 denies, I guess, in Ricky's case. Parenthesis. And then, Q might have killed me with Holy Light. And then High Zealot was there to kill the rest of them. Because I think High Zealot was down here killing camps or something. I'm not sure what he was doing over there. Maybe he was just down the lane. I actually paid more attention in the game at that point than I was in this cast, because I'm running around a lot. Have you ever tried to deal with Amazon's website? I don't think I've seen a more malicious company outside of like Google or Microsoft or whatever, where the user interface is intentionally designed to be as annoying as possible. Because my grandmother uses this thing called a Kindle, and it's basically like a text file reader, and she buys these text files that talk about the rapture and other shit. And well, one's supposed to be in the Kindle library, but it isn't. And you would think it would just be as simple as adding it to the library, but apparently not. I have to wonder if it's just there's some option that's not loading in that particular browser. Because Amazon is one of those shitty companies that tries to force you to use Chrome so they can data mine you. And pretty much everybody in their right mind would never run anything related to Google on their computer if they had a say in it. So that laptop also being on Windows 7. A lot of those browsers don't even work on it anymore because they're trying to force you onto operating systems they can data mine you on. It's all about ensuring that you are the product. It's really scummy, to be honest. I have to wonder if even Brave would work on that system. I don't think so. I think I tried it. Brave is kind of a shitty browser too, but pretty much anything is better than using Chrome. So they finally come here and start destroying my hard work. Although the effectiveness of the farm at this point was debatable at best. And in the meantime, again, we're still pushing a lot. Full upgrades on both sides as far as damage and armor is concerned. With their casters actually have higher upgrades than us. They actually might outpace us in upgrades a little bit right now. Otherwise, still kind of a slow game. You notice that, like, they have a huge advantage in terms of, like, overall team gold right now. Like, look at the kill. Even the army kills are real substantially higher. But they haven't been able to turn that into that snowballing lead yet. They're not pressuring us very much. So at that point, I'm going to switch off of Acid Bomb. I'm going to take Carrion Swarm. And I'm going to actually start trying to take the game a little more seriously now. Because, well, I just hate losing, so I was going to stop making towers at this point. Although I will make a tower up here, hoping it can hit the Hydras from up there, but it actually can't. I think you need to kill the trees to do that. No, it's too lazy to get Flame Strike or whatever. Meanwhile, Stake will discover that the Helms of Valor actually only give +4 stats. So they're actually terrible. I will level Carrion Swarm, but I won't actually prioritize items for quite a while because I don't even have boots yet. I've never really needed them, and I won't need mana regeneration. There's always birds harassing those middle minions. So, although we've been pushed against them, nobody on our team really does anything decisive yet. Stake can kill people in lanes, and High Zealot can drain a lot of their mana, but we are well past the point where we needed people to hit Power Spike where they become really major threats on the map. So everybody on the map is kind of tanky, but they don't have even really remotely complete skill sets. And what skills they do have, I doubt too many people have anything even close to being maxed yet. Maybe Bill has Flame Strike close to being maxed or hasn't maxed. But we are at the stage where people get slapped to death really slowly, right? And that is going to lead to some interactions like people being chased down lanes and slowly killed, but the lanes are pushing slow enough because Bill and High Zealot are not being very aggressive about wave clearing. And yet they lack enough strength to actually deal damage to the bases that it doesn't matter, that even when people die, it doesn't really change the shape of the map very much at all. And that's just because no leads are really gained in the early game whatsoever, in spite of the massive investment of towers, Bill getting such a huge lead, so on and so forth. The enemy hasn't turned that into any kind of lead yet. And Bill hasn't been able to convert the early mid advantage into any kind of anything at this stage. I would say he honestly lacks the finesse to turn that into a major advantage. Like, what he would want to do is effectively do what I'm going to be doing at some point in this, which is trying to push every lane at once. And then take command of the camps and try to fill your inventory and then start feeding gold to your team to make them stronger. Basically trying to just snowball off of gold, which is much more possible when you are wave clearing. But what instead's going to happen is a lot of this either way, where you have HCAS who can kill me, or a Stake who can kill a number of people, and they just kind of like murder each other, and then it takes forever to clean up the wave, and they just respawn, and it doesn't really make a damn of a difference. So now, when I cycle my spellbook and then Carrion Swarm, I will chew a lot of my mana, and at that point it's like, yeah, I need an item now. So I'm not sure what Bill actually does past leveling Blizzard and Flame Strike. Honestly, I think he levels Brilliance Aura, so that's level 2. Honestly, to me, it felt like Bill really just kind of fell off the game, starting at about now. Oh, 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 ah! That was good. Ricky had just barely escaped, was gonna slowly heal up. High Zealot helped him back to heal faster. Now HGS is gonna die. So, they're kind of dying left and right, depending on who it is. Bill is still trying to get some clear in here. Again, I think the Blizzard isn't very high level. So I appear. I don't really possess the means to kill him since my Carrion Swarm is not very high level. But I do have the shitty Carrion Swarm and the shitty Frost Nova on top of it, so I'm gonna just try to keep this tower alive here. Now, those spells don't do damage to buildings, so it's really just the catapults that are the problem. Bill's like denying me gold right now. And then Stake appeared. And there was a stasis ward there, I think. We got Bill low, but I was taking a lot of damage from the minions, so I didn't really want to chase him. And I think that was Loli that was there, and maybe I've been clearing camps or something because he wasn't really a part of that fight. Our bottom wave always seems to be like perpetually pushed against them. And I did do a tiny bit of damage to the barracks, but they're not really in much danger. Because Bell just can like come down here and clear them. So I don't think his flame strike's maxed. I think it's like level 7, level 8 or something like that. Because I think a max flame strike kills those creeps fairly reliably. At this point I was just going to max out Carrion Swarm, and then I was going to decide on something else. Eventually I just decided just to take Chain Lightning, because Chain Lightning is very reliable, especially at high levels. And at this point I just kind of focus on farming. So you're going to see my CS is going to steadily go up. Of course, there's a lot of leads on me right now. Hyzealot's a little higher, and I'm only tied with Loli and Q, so I've got a lot of catching up to do to get up to Bill. And their creep kill on the Horde is still really high compared to ours. Meanwhile, Steak and Ricky have basically nothing, and HKS is not really that much higher for having the lanes pushed against them constantly. So they're definitely going to be thriving mostly out of ambient gold at this point, which is still substantially higher than ours is. Whereas, although High Zealot will take like feedback and stuff like that, he never really takes much damage. Like, he never takes critical strike or bash or anything like that. And he'll never get an axe. He's actually going to go like full agility and just kind of like almost like a support damage build. So we have just a bunch of like support, nothing that really like quite synergizes with each other. Oh, Ricky might die. Oh, 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 oh. He canceled it, otherwise he might have gotten out. And Steak appeared. Bill denies himself. Loli makes a beetle. Oh, stasis wards. Oh, oh, and you're a fucking raccoon. I don't even have boots. I actually forgot to buy boots. I forgot they even existed. So HKS actually took Incinerate, which has arguable usefulness. That said, High Zealot's not very tanky and is taking some minion damage, so they come out about even on that one. And then Q is down there, so I will not see HKS. You cannot see him under here. I won't see him, and I'll suddenly realize, wait, I'm taking damage. And of course, he has a stun on top of it. So I didn't see him under there at all until I was already like below half health, and I was like, why am I taking damage? Q isn't doing this damage to me. He's running away. And I mean, you couldn't even see him under there either, so 3D was a mistake. It really has done nothing for RTS at all, and I don't understand the insistence of marketers to turn these games into fucking 3D. To this day, it still makes no sense. It still just detracts. There's a tower I built for the hope of shooting Hydras, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't going to shoot down there. You would think 700 would go down there, but again, 3D, it's deceptive. I think you need like 1,000 range or something to shoot from that point. So Ricky is French, in case you weren't aware of that. Oh yes, Bill will take Animate Dead. So the funny thing about Animate Dead is Animate Dead gives you money for kills. So when you kill Animate Dead units, they give you full gold bounty. Which means that every single time Bill uses Animate Dead and I come up to it, Bill is actually giving me 2 waves worth of golds. So, I'm very happy to counter push Bill, wait for him to use animate dead, and then re-clear the wave. It's free golds. Okay then. So Ricky, however, conversely does almost nothing in this game. He has Thunderclap. I don't think he even took War Stomp at all. And he doesn't really do much. He just sort of exists. Bill killed himself again. So, the first item that High Zealot takes is actually the eggplant for the heal and the agility. So the agility helps him a little bit. But the healing helps him stay in lane, so he actually aggressively uses the item. And I think this might be an instance where my lack of boots gets me fucked here. You know, I don't have any way to run from this. No, he stopped chasing. He could have killed me for sure. He could have chased me down and I would have died. There was nothing I would have been able to do. So he's trying to take attack speed. He actually has two blast steps. And it is actually a reasonable amount of damage when nobody does damage. You're looking at a case. The camera got zoomed out by that. Oh, you can really zoom out. Is that a replay thing? Why does it do that? I don't know. And he's hoping for Incinerate to deal damage. But the blast staffs when you're isolated and nobody does really nuclear levels of damage yet. Okay, Ricky. Yeah. It's something you don't pay attention to. So I built a tower up here. It kills these crabs whenever they clear the hydras. Every now and then someone comes down there and clears the hydras. So the tower gets me a little bit. But I actually put that there to slow people down in case they're being chased out of our base. So I don't think that'll ever happen, but that's why I put it there. So I'm pretty sure Bill never leveled Blizzard or didn't level it much. It's slowly dealing damage, but it's definitely on the lower end. Lolly came over here, it contemplates the matters of crabs, leaves, and does not elaborate. Whereas I'm over here with Ricky, but I know that neither of us can do anything. I'm actually just waiting for minions to spawn so I can clear them instead, because the base movement speed means we're not going to kill anyone here. But if someone comes out and attacks us and dies that way, honestly, I had no idea why Ricky was running in to get himself killed. It's not like he does anything. Bill, on the other hand, is quite vulnerable when he's channeling Blizzard, but he always just barely managed to get away. So it seems like we're in a good spot here, but we're not really, because we don't have the means to kill these buildings. And we don't really have a lot of minions yet, and they keep healing and coming back, so... HKS like barely escapes and then scoots off. Meanwhile, the shamans try to reset into our base. And remember how I said they try to reset to their origin or whatever? Sometimes that origin just seems to be Brazil. And they'll just try to run into your base. I see shamans like in the middle of our base every now and then. They'll come from bottom and then they'll run up into here, and I don't know, maybe they're trying to reset to 0-0 or something. Game's a fucking mess. So this tower is every now and then it's helping a little bit here, paying for itself very slowly. So I got boots that time, and I realized it was going to be a problem. I thought I died. I died because I had no boots, and I got boots, but I guess not. So it looks like I got chain lightning, but it's very low level. It'll be low level for a while. And Carrion Swarm may or may not be maxed out. Oh, I think it's maxed out. So I was going to do something a little different in this game. Rather than building like pure tank, I was going to try to build pure int and some regen, and I was going to ignore Brilliance Aura and take all offensive spells. And I was going to see how much I can make int damage do for me, because HKS had added a scalar for ints onto spell damage. So I was hoping that everyone on their team, except for like Loli, was kind of fat. I guess Bill wasn't really fat either, but I remember him being kind of tanky enough to survive my poke. So I was thinking if I just built pure spell damage and took a bunch of burst, I might be able to nuke them because I knew HKS was doing some kind of physical damage shit. But it's going to take a while to reach the point where I can afford that. And then we noticed Loli had built some towers over here. Loli was hoping to relive my dream. Now, Bill's actually going to leave them behind here. His HKS needlessly tanks this Holy Archer. And it's going to kind of kill the momentum from their push a little bit. But Q can sustain forever. His healing doesn't heal for a huge amount, but nobody really does a huge amount of damage. Now, I actually dispelled his Holy Frost Armor there. Her spellbook can actually spell steal. I put it on autocaster around this point, but I didn't want to seem to take his shit. It was going to be obvious we couldn't catch them. Yeah, at some point I'll actually get the Boulder ability, which has been nerfed since its original incarnation of having a literally map-wide radius. HK, no, Ricky. Ricky finally buys control magic. HKS is starting to become a little tanky with all the healing, but not quite tanky enough to handle the three of us. I was contemplating getting Healing Wave, but I will instead take Forked Lightning, which that's a while from now, but that spell takes a long time to get off the ground, but the higher levels of it are pretty good. Because it's just yet another point and click damage. It's kind of stupid at a high level. So again, we're in bottom lane, but only High Zealot really does physical damage, and it's not really that much. Ricky is kind of just a distraction. Everybody wants to murder the Frenchman, particularly since he was yelling a lot on this. But he's the most useless person here, because I'm not sure he's ever leveled anything besides Thunder Cloud. So he definitely didn't know how to handle the gold chains. And they're so thirsty chasing into the enemy base. You're not going to catch them. You don't have CC. And Q, it doesn't do a lot of damage, but we don't have sustain. So over time, the Holy Light's kind of wearing us down. And Hazel is trying to sustain that, but... Like... Oh! Tickled. And I leave because there's people in top lane. French people mostly. There goes some of your mana. Oh yeah, I accidentally clicked Farsight. And I learned it, but it only gave me back 1 lumber, I think. So I went down here to clear that up. Oh yeah, Lole got the beetles, which I'm not sure if he ever levels past level 4 or not, but they seem really useless. Maybe the high level ones are better. So High Zealot is not really doing damage at this point, but slowly becoming more and more of a pest for sure, and eventually he is going to take Entangle. So, Assassin's Arcana? What the hell was that? Agility? I think that's agility, if I'm not mistaken. He was just going pure agility. Maybe for attack speed and then base damage, I'm not sure. Just for more mana drain, really. But his feedback is really low level, so it's not too big of a deal at the moment. Ricky's gonna almost die. Uh-oh, the turtle wants him. So yeah, Bill is still creeping up in CS. He's now at 459. High Zealot is still tied with me. Our excessive pushing. I think Ricky tried to run back and Steak just spanked him. High Zealot now pushing quite aggressively and slowly racking up CS. And I'm finally starting to catch up, but it's going to be a while. And they find that Thyloli has increased the presence of his towers. And so the minions kind of help them out. Oh, and it. That shit's the bee's knees, if you ask me. That shit's the bee's knees. So I was clearing out the Hydras. I think I was looking to actually buy something at this point. I might have been. Or I was still fishing for a blast staff. HKS has got a while to go on his damage, but I think he's actually looking to buy an axe or something pretty soon. Now the game is kind of looking like it would have normally looked like half an hour ago. So the early was really slowed down. But conversely, pretty much all the waves are fully upgraded upgrade-wise. And I imagine most of the actual spawns are also maxed out or close to it. Although some of our upgrades like Control Magic were pretty far behind. And I guess we will never get Depression or Demolish for a really long time. But they will pick up Depression Aura, I think. Probably pretty soon, actually. They will pick it up once they realize I'm taking Chain Lightning and Carrion Swarm. Because I'm gonna soon hit a spot where my CS is just gonna be steadily skyrocketing. Because I'll just be aggressively farming those waves. And Bill's gonna make it a lot easier with the Animate Dead. So, okay, that was when I picked up the Surgical Mask. This game is... yeah, it's slower than I remember. It was a long game. It was certainly a long game. And the Surgical Mask was necessary because Chain Lightning was just chewing through my mana really fast. But once I picked that up, we will hit this point where I'm going to be trying to out-CS their healing, but I don't think his healing is very high level. So the other reason I got the Surgical Mask is because I wanted to leave Spell Steal on, just in case someone runs up to me with Frost Armor that it might steal it. I wasn't sure if it would try to Spell Steal while I was on auto attack or whatever, but in the off chance it did it could save me. Because it is a lot of armor. So it's kind of hard to see Bill in there, but he is in there. And he does die to High Zealot in my AoE. Now, killing Q, on the other hand, is a lot harder because he's got sneakers on, he's got a sofa on his back, and he just heals forever. So I'm making a lot of use of that Frost Nova off of my spellbook. It takes a lot to kill him. He hasn't died very often in this game. Ricky leads the charge. He's got one blast staff. The makings of a French legend. It's been a long time coming, but it's coming. State comes in here missing most of his health. Loli appears and focuses on Ricky, of course. He really did just take all CC. It's all because of the last game. He just took all CC. And the difference is nobody else on this team is taking CC other than HKS's innate ability. So it's not quite as disruptive. Plus he's not saving it for like when HKS is there. So like if he CC'd Ricky here, Ricky would have been dead for sure. He might still die, but the chase is on. Oh, oh. Oh, 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 Ricky, No, you might have said, why didn't Ricky run down to where the creeps are? Well, there's like two little towers. Oh, shit. So Hy's slowly working on feedback, getting that leveled up. He did take the Blink Dagger. And my tower up top was destroyed. The only tower I have left is... they actually destroyed this one. Remember when they were in top lane? They came up and destroyed it. But they totally ignored the peasant. And I saw that they ignored the peasant, but then I forgot the peasant exists. So I never did anything with him. So my creep score is not going up as fast as I figured it would be. It will start getting really high. I know in the end of the game, my creep score, the score screen says my creep score was absolutely fucking massive. And I'm not really quite sure at what point the turnaround is, because I stopped checking the creep score at about this point. Very obviously, Bill has just been fed creep waves the entire game, and is just stupidly far ahead as a result of that. But I should be starting to pick up at some point here. So Thalole has put towers in the base. Again, normally it doesn't do anything, but we don't have anyone on our team that really does attack damage except for Stake. Except Stake doesn't have much base damage yet, and not really any attack speed at all. So it's really like High Zealot that has the attack speed, but still also doesn't have base damage, really. So we don't actually have an easy way to destroy those towers. Plus those towers are heavy armor, so the mortars aren't really going to be doing too much to them either. So actually, although we will come to the top lane, we won't be able to accomplish a lot. We will harass an emu, and I will start to get some CS out of killing the waves over here, but we won't deal too much damage to their base. Meanwhile, they are down here. HKS actually does not have an axe yet. I thought he got an axe at this point. Q did get a God Orb, though, so he's even faster and tankier. And this push down here is a lot more dangerous than ours up top. So I will ignore the CS and escape. And try to do something with bottom lane, but it's kind of already too late for at least one of the buildings. Because gold is still quite stretched and I haven't really reached that point where I'm comfortable on CS yet, losing buildings absolutely hurts a lot at this point. Especially since Ricky is not really going to be able to do anything to stop this. So I kind of have to just like work them down. Ricky appears and goes for the siege. Not a bad idea, but they might kill him. High Zealot also appeared. Strained a lot of the mana off of Q. Q does, however, escape. Ricky hypothetically could have killed Q, but HKS is chasing Ricky out of it. Okay, Q teleported after him and killed him. Meanwhile, the chase is on. Where he goes, nobody knows. Oof. Oh, and HKS gets denied. Their push falls apart, but they take out 2 core structures, and that's not too good. Because I'm gonna need to have people pull me gold to replace the second one. And it slows down my chain lightning leveling. I think the spike for me is after I manage to max out chain lightning, but that's not gonna come for a while. A lot like forked lightning, chain lightning doesn't really become that good until at least level 8. But you really need those last levels to be hitting the damage tiers that you can start killing the waves. And then they get Depression Ore and it gets a lot harder. Bill flame strikes his own shit and almost kills Thyloli in the process. Oh, and Stasis Ward. And Bash. So their pushes come one after the other. The later two don't do anything really. You get a little bit of money out of it. And some coins. As you can see, the CS on both Hyzilla and myself spiked up in the last little while there, just because of the lanes pushing against us. I'm not sure where the fuck. Ah, shit. There's some turtle and rifleman action over here. This is about the point I realized I'm probably going to need a third damage ability to try to out-damage Q's healing, because there was a world where they get a huge wave of upgraded minions, and he spammed healing, and then I wasn't able to wave clear it. And if I wasn't able to wave clear it, we were going to lose. So this is where that's starting to get dangerous, is Q's at the stage where I probably can't kill him myself, because he's just too tanky. And I don't have a way to sustain any of the damage from minions or anything, so High Zealot's gonna do his best to slow this down here. But again, not very tanky. So now I'm going to rotate from wave to wave, since now they're finally pushing against us. This was the opportunity for me to start getting that money that I really needed and think about getting items. Stake is kind of outscaled at the point where, since he doesn't have any damage items really, he is not able to kill people that reliably anymore. He can still chase them. I think he's still got slow poison. He didn't want to get the axe because he thought the orb effect would overwrite the slow poison. I actually don't know if it does. Neither of us really knew, so... But eventually he reaches the stage where he's just going to give it up anyways. Oh my god! That was really like pubic hair pulling right there. This man, minions are pissed today. So I was just pushing. The mana drain on High Zealot is causing Q a little bit of grief, but you can see it's pretty hard to chase him now. There's this massive fuckfest going on down here. There is still a tower over here. I think that Loli's probably got more mileage out of those towers than I did. Especially since they actually managed to kill someone with them.
Our forces are under attack.
Oh, an emu has been found. An emu is in danger. Oh, he was gonna try to deny again, I think. So Bill has died a number of times now. Chain Lightning level 8, level 9. And I believe I will get level 10. Yeah, there you go. All right. Once you got that combo settled up, you're pretty gold. But I wanted more. I'm eventually going to take Fork Lightning. But it'll be a little while. I mentioned, oh yeah, I mentioned this footman that was over here for some reason. And Ricky thought I wanted him to come there for some reason, so he runs halfway across the map. I freed the footman from his worldly bonds. And off he goes to die somewhere pointless. So I think I will get a bong of insight at this stage. I think that's what I get. Or I might not have had enough yet, I'm not sure. No, I did. Okay. I think I had someone trade me some money. I'm not sure. Yeah, I needed like 250 gold. I think that was it. Maybe they traded me it after. You would have seen it in chat if that was the case. Maybe Ricky gave me 200. Oh, yeah, I think it was Ricky. I said invent to give me 250. All right, so Entangling Roots is getting leveled. I have the Bong of Insight. That gives me a bit more base damage. Next out, Chain Lightning. You can see the CS is starting to catch up. Bill is slowed down, conversely. Mostly because he's died several times. But now the waves are pushing kind of more quickly in general. So if he's not capitalizing on the waves, then it's a little harder for him. So HKS murdered High Zoa up here. And he got an axe, a head barrel, and a cap hop. And then Bill died down here. He just got nuked. He was already low health, so I just kind of ran up to him and killed him. But killing Q, on the other hand, was not going to be as easy. So at this stage, HKS doesn't have any sustain, but he does have a lot of base health. They do have Depression Aura, which makes clearing definitely harder, because that's spell resistance for minions. So this is where I take Hurl Boulder, because for Bill, I was able to kill Bill once, but that's because he was already low. Although he was getting healed a little bit by Q, it's, you're not going to kill him every time unless you have a way to lock him down. And of course, HKS and anybody else who might try to run. I needed a way to secure kills. Now that I had Chain Lightning maxed out, I was at the stage where I could start looking to actually fight more. Whereas a lot of the times, although I had looked for fights, they were bad ideas. Steak also now has a head barrel and a little bit more tanky as a result. But I'm going to want damage, because I still have 2 spell slots I can take. And I don't think I have mass teleport yet, but I will eventually take that as well. Although I won't level it. And I'm not very aggressive about using it now. There's been a few of these games I take it, but I'm not really aggressive about using it. I kind of tunnel vision too much. More times I can make use of it for sure.
Our forces are under attack.
That peasant that's up there, I could have reconstructed that tower. So when I am synergized with High Zealot now, because we have two forms of CC, we can overlap it, even though Hurl Bulldozer is a very long cooldown. It doesn't last that long. It's still something that can be used in conjunction with Entangle. And he drains mana and can chase. And I can slow with that shitty Frost Nova. So the two of us, when we're together, we're pretty much unbeatable by anyone on the map. I think we could actually probably 2v4 the enemy team. Or at least we would have a good chance of it. I think it would really depend on Q, right? Because Q's their sustain. But if someone is not with me, then I don't have enough CC to lock down someone like HKS to actually kill them. But HKS often makes this very easy by just running into us. And yeah, he just died instantly as a result. And Loli was behind us, walked past us, and nobody even responded to him being there. I don't think I even saw him there. And he did, it looked like he did soul burn. But I don't know. I'm not actually sure. Did he just like run in there? I was too focused on HKS running in and dying. HKS will get extremely thirsty at many points in this game. And that interaction will play through a lot. But if people don't pay attention, then he can probably 1v1 just about anybody except for maybe Steak. And I think sometimes Steak. Depending how much health he's at. Steak doesn't do as much damage. But again, not really team-oriented people. If they don't go to support you, then Steak, for example, tends to be forgetful. Also, people will back at full health when we're still in the position to push or kill. And they won't tell you they're going back, and you won't notice they're going back. And yeah, so I went over here to hide, because I saw them pushing out of their base. And I thought they might come down to clear the Hydras or shop. And if I can catch one of them fighting the Hydras, I could probably kill them, especially if it was Bill or Q. And probably HKS too if he was on his own. But I will wait for a while. I didn't really want to kill them myself because I didn't want to get caught in that same wrestling match. But I will wait for a little while and nobody will come. When I see them go down here, I'll determine that they are not going to go for the Hydras. And I will then go and clear them. However, High Zealot kind of wants to go down there, but notice as Ricky goes down there and he's not really 100% sure when he decides, I'll go for it. I think. Maybe he's still waiting for Ricky. I'm not sure. Uh-oh. Where is the Erdl, though? The Erdl doesn't come for him. The Erdl is supposed to spawn in there and eat you, but he's kind of lucky he didn't get eaten by the Erdl, I guess. I'm not really sure why it closed if the Erdl did not spawn. Steak almost died down there, it looks like. So Bill actually never got boots either. HKS has 2 axes now, having exchanged his gloves of haste.
Our forces are under attack.
Whereas I now have 2 bongs. And not being very aggressive about looking for fights at the moment. Other than when I was trying to ambush at the Hydras. Since I never get sustained in this, I can't really like try to bait people into fighting me now. I'm much better at following up High Zealot or a stake. But there'll be some amusing interactions here. So Entangled comes out, Ricky goes in. Bill doesn't really take too much damage from that. I stunned HKS and then kind of backed away just to kind of keep him in one spot. Once everybody comes out, then I can slow. And then he dies. Bill, however, escapes. Lowly approaches. He wants in on that action. He wants some of that lizard. He's got a lot of beetles. They're level 5 now. So he does not back off. He hangs out and just gets murdered. High Zealot eventually gets rid of Diffusion Flare, dumping those resources into Entangling Roots. The Shamans again. And those Hydras have not repopped yet. Not sure if Key is looking to buy or looking to clear. He might be looking to buy. And I won't be surprised if it's more health. I don't believe I ever actually check his inventory after this point. But I won't be surprised if he buys another head barrel. We start seeing their team getting really tanky. He could also be looking for more mana regeneration, though. I think he'll end up getting a Phoenix, but I don't think it'll get leveled. It's probably getting harder for him to keep up with the gold income at this point. So Bill is almost up to 700, but I have leaped ahead of High Zealot, and I'm rapidly catching up to him at this point. I like the towers down here. So he did not actually buy anything. I guess maybe he was just hoping to buy something but didn't have the money. Ricky, on the other hand, is now he has mirror images and 3 blast staffs. So not amazing yet, but we have seen how effective this can be, particularly when they're invisible. So HKS very thirsty. High Zealot not really able to tank him. Oh. Ricky steals my kill. Although it really didn't matter at this point. I was going to get so much gold from minions, it just didn't make a damn difference. I actually bought a God Orb just to have more general stat boost. The attack speed's not very useful on me, though. Unlike other games, I won't bother getting an axe. I won't bother going tanky. I just start investing heavily into just int as much as I can. As much as I feel good sparing it. But I did want to be slightly tankier, so I felt the God Orb was an okay exchange. But I probably should have just taken another Bong of Insight instead. So Q goes after him, dropping behind him, draining some of his mana. The boulder comes out. My Chain Lightning actually hit the wrong target, and it doesn't seem like it bounced to him. So if it wasn't for Entangle, he might have actually gotten away. Again, 3D LMAO. It can be hard to click on people. At least it isn't one of those numerous Hive Workshop maps where the custom models don't have hit test because nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. It is extremely rare to see a custom model where they have hit test on them. StarCraft 2 or Warcraft 3. When really, you shouldn't be hosting models that are just fucked like that. And I didn't know about that either when I started way back in like 2006 or whatever it was when I started dealing with modeling in this game. Because nobody ever tells you these things, and you wonder why clicking is so stupid. So, here is the stick getting a little fucked by the damage difference here. But he does have chemical rage, so he moves pretty quick. HKS, however, has very stubby little legs and not able to chase. High Zealot doesn't deal amazingly high damage either, but HKS is already kind of low. Oh, Thyloli might have been able to grab. Oh, Thyloli is using the tower instead of a peasant. To be fair, I actually forgot those existed. Oh, he might die. High Zealot runs away, and nothing comes as a result of any of that. But he's going to sustain himself. There's Fork Lightning. It will be pretty useless in spite of the int bonuses until it gets very high level. So we're kind of sort of seeing more of the same old at this point, where the same individuals are not really investing heavily into items, and they don't seem to know how to handle a longer game. It was the same thing we saw a lot in Warlords or Merchants, where, you know, especially like Ricky, or really anybody, honestly, except for maybe Mucky, they would really fatigue later on after like the first like half hour, and they wouldn't know how to proceed late game at all. And at best, they would kind of like just stick to how they did things before. In this case, we would often see people just like Thyloli, which is like switch abilities constantly. He's not doing it this time around. He's more constant. But what I notice here is that HKS gets a lot more thirsty. He's not really respecting the fact there's two of us here that have CC. And that there's a lot of burst damage. So even though I'm low and High Zealot's low, he doesn't have a way to sustain our damage or mitigate it. So he is going to take more damage because of Berserk. He's going to get CC'd. And then we're going to rotate. And then if we don't kill him, we're going to run away. It's just a bad matchup for him. We counter him, and there's two of us. And he doesn't really adapt to that well at all. So that'll be a mistake he'll make constantly. Whereas, you know, a lot of people in the last game will make the mistake where they underestimate how much CC, like the enemy team had just 3 people with full CC on. Where you stuck your head out, you would get CC'd forever, and then nothing you did could have made a difference. In this, there is a lot of like running into people and dying. And I made that mistake a lot early on. And then HKS makes that mistake later on, where he's like overly aggressive. Now, this map isn't really that punishing in that regard. Again, it takes a long time to push the map and clear the way, so a couple deaths aren't a big deal. But it can be a big deal in your base, right? Like, we've seen that in a few games where we have a really hard game. We push them to their base, they run single file into certain death over and over and over again. And before you know it, you're racked up like a dozen kills. Why would you use headphones with batteries? You're sitting next to your computer. Just plug them in. That seems like something if you're using like a cell phone or something like that, not a computer. I thought I heard someone at the door. I was trying to listen. The word fucks us up. HKS backs away. Thalole runs forward. Bill's gonna run forward. We're not really that weak right now at all, though. So anyone who moves forward here is asking to die. And if High Zealot wanted to, he could have run in there and killed Bill for sure. He could have blinked forward and tangled. That would have been it. Bill would have been dead. And then that's a death that could have catapulted into a really strong push. But because Bill got away this time, he's going to be able to come back and clear the next wave. Now, Thalole, on the other hand, doesn't respect that. Focuses on High Zealot, and I just kill him. The towers are taking some damage, though. HKS is going to run in. I'm going to run back. Wait for a stake to turn around. Let the vision fuck him up, and then High Zealot comes down. I might have died if it wasn't for Entangle, but Stake would have killed him anyways. So, Bill's gonna pretty much fall to the exact same thing. I almost died to Stake him and saw that. So now we're finally at the point where there's actually burst damage in the game. It took a while to reach that point, particularly since everybody had leveled up and, you know, gotten some items before we really started to see it. But we are now at that stage where somebody finally has burst damage. And, you know, you can tell just by the replay length that that's the thing that starts to turn the game around a lot. Is the only person on their team that's really a threat to us now, singularly, is HKS. And as long as people stick together on our team, he's not going to kill anyone. But people have to stick together on our team. So that's not so easy when it's basically herding cats. However, I felt like that if they upgraded all their, like if they got the special upgraded minions and Q stuck with them, and then Thalole just like played babysitter and used the CC and stuck to HKS, and they all just kind of grouped up, we would have a very hard time stopping them because the upgraded minions have so much health, and the Depression Aura would have made my spell damage. I had to take a lot to kill the wave, and then if they all just dogpiled me right away, we wouldn't have really any wave clear to deal with that kind of a push. Because you see how long it takes Stake to clear the waves. He does have cleaving attack, but if they're all upgraded and with Q, he can sustain it. Meanwhile, Ricky performs a strategy. It was, I don't know, he wasn't even over there, but... Oh, it's Thalole who got the Phoenix, not Q. I'm actually not sure what Q is doing with his abilities at this point. He might have just been leveling his healing or something. You see how long it takes for them to clear a wave, right? They had to prioritize their targets when attacking, really. On their team, for us, that's mostly killing the emu. If you can kill Q on top of it, great, but it's usually too hard to catch him. you'll see me kind of like just jousting, running back, so I don't get dove by HKS and Thyaloli at once. That's the most dangerous combo, because Thyaloli will just hex you or whatever, but not very proactive about his positioning, which you can play around, which means I can do that. Now, HKS will often telegraph his attack by burning Berserk early. And when you get that, you know he's always going to charge you, which means you can back up away from his team, and then he will charge you away from his team. And nobody on his team will follow him, is the other thing, too. Because it's a telegraph for them as much as it is for us. And as a result of that, all three of them die. Even though, like, High Zealot was, like, hyper-aggressive chasing them. Like, he could have blinked into them to be sure he got entangled on someone. But it was just enough to have Ricky chasing them and me chasing them, and then that was just enough. And I do have mass teleport now, so I was kind of, like, clearing out. And, oh. So I left him there. I was contemplating what to do because they were going to repop. I was more interested in just putting pressure on their base than actually pushing it at this point. You see, they upgraded some of the minions here. I saw an emu. I kind of wanted to murder an emu, but it's harder than you think it is when they're in the base. Steak is punching some lobsters. So I came back to clear middle since we were struggling a little bit. And you can see the CS. Bill has slowed down substantially. And now I'm already almost at 700. I just start very aggressively taking creeps at this point. And you can see that the kills on the teams are really reflecting a lot of that. And I got Depression Aura and Demolish, and I still had gold left over. That was 6,000 gold I just spent right there. And that will be possibly level 10 Forked Lightning, actually. Yeah. So the next thing to do at this point is to replace the Juggalo, the Juggalin. And then eventually possibly replace the Surgical Mask with another Bong too. That's actually not enough spell damage to dual HKS though, I will find out. But anybody else on their team, including Q, can't deal with it anymore. It takes a lot to reach that point for sure. But it's a really long game, so despite the really awkward start, I'll eventually get to that point. Whereas Q has also grabbed a Bong. More regeneration, but when he can no longer sustain the waves or keep his allies alive, it's really hard for him to be effectual in the game. It kind of nullifies him, because that's really all he does, other than some of the poke damage. What is Ricky doing, I wonder? Being French. Oh, Q wants him! Q wants him! Oh, Q doesn't want him. Meanwhile, Steak is getting fucked over by Frost Armor, actually. He almost dies. So at this point, I think I'm looking to get rid of that Juggalo. It's very possible here. Yeah. More damage. Again, they're permanently pushed into their base. But we don't have a single cohesive push yet. We look at High Zealot's inventory. He's also slowed down a lot on items, but it's really about the mana burn with him, I suppose. At this stage, I can start getting people. This guy's got murdered by the French. So it's kind of hard to chase Q through like 8 waves of minions, but that's okay. I was gonna take gold no matter which way I could get it. So many wards. So Steak has an axe, the mystery bagel, although he'll say he'll often forget to use it. 2 barrels. They're reasonably strong now. I think he has crit. Probably maxed out or close to maxed out. I wish we could see the abilities like you can in StarCraft 2, but updating the interface to modernize it is too much effort for remastering a game. They'd rather just grift instead. So I'm going to take Mana Shield, and that's actually going to be a mistake because I'm not used to playing around Mana Shield. Lily just got murdered down here. And I won't level it up enough either. So it's very possible for me to lose all my mana in like 1 or 2 hits. And I'm not used to playing around that, turning on and off when I think I'm going to get hit. So that's actually going to be a mistake. I probably would have been better off taking spiked armor or something like that instead. I was contemplating it, but I thought, well, none of them are melee damage, really. So why would I want that? But really just for the armor. But you're going to see the problem here is 1 hit and pretty much all my mana is gone. HKS got murdered instantly. And some money appears. So the mana shield is good when I'm in their base to absorb incidental damage, but like 1 hit from HKS is like 700 mana, so that removes your ability to CC him or deal damage because it's basically a DPS race. And yeah, you know. Again, the Flame Strike ate it all. I'm not used to playing around it. I'll get a little bit better as time goes on, but it's very common for it to blow all my mana. Like, it's good against Q because his Holy Light's probably not going to eat all of it. And then you won't get chipped down by him. But not good otherwise. I'm not sure what Ricky's doing. I heard him building stuff, but I never checked it. I'm not actually sure he'll ever do anything with it, though. No, that's Steak doing that, not Ricky. I'm just used to Ricky using the peasants. So he got Devotion Aura. Elun's Grace, which was piercing and maybe maybe magic resist. I'm not sure if it stacks with a hero's magic resist or not.
Job's done.
It's not really magic damage it's killing Ricky though. A lot of coins over there that I didn't bother to take because it was in their base and I never saw them. It's okay. Steak got him. Ricky flees from the bird. Money marches towards him. Mana shield level 5. Still not very good. Steak actually at this point cannot fight HKS instead of having Devotion Aura. Because I think HKS actually leveled Endurance Aura. Oh, it's level 1, never mind. I actually thought Steak was stronger, but I guess not. Maybe because he like leveled Cleave and HKS might have one. I don't know. HKS maybe just has, maybe it's the 2 axes or whatever. So we were looking for an emu here. Emu has no idea. I couldn't click him underneath the Kodo Beast, so I just used whatever and he just got erased. Yeah, he doesn't I don't think he has any defensive items, so all those maxed out with a plus 85 imp is a substantial amount of damage. So we're pushing top, but again, we're having a hard time with these towers. He's built more towers. We've only got like 1 mortar team. Because the vision, right? Like the vision really makes it the hardest. The mortar teams will just run into there and kill themselves. So it holds us up for quite a while. None of us really deal too much damage to towers. Only High Zealot will do a little bit. So it's almost kind of like we're sitting here waiting for somebody to come out and dive us and die. Bill actually almost died to that alone. Oh. 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 The animate dad killed. Little silly. Lol, the Pandaren Elemental. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit here, just a little bit. So I wanted to Q this time. I was quite capable of killing him. Just had to stay on top of him. Oh, and then we're stunned. And he gets away. I think his heals are pretty much maxed now. Phoenix is level 2. Doesn't do too much damage at this point in the game. Again, the mana shield was more of a detriment at this point. Stake was more than willing to chase. We got their barracks. It's very possible if I had taken Healing Wave, we might have actually just won here by sustaining it down. But part of the threat is that triple nuke that'll just kill anybody besides HKS who runs up to me. So there was certainly a number of directions I could have gone. And Ricky is just running in with his images. Got very close to killing Bill. HKS, on the other hand, is just diving top. I decided to go top since where he did damage on bottom. You can see I had the initial attack, and then Hyzel was behind him, so at that point there wasn't anything he could have done anyways. If he ran back, he would have just gotten killed. If he ran forward, he was already dead. And our push stops on bottom, but now they gotta build 2 buildings, so at this point I was making so much money that I was just gonna feed people money. So I think I give Stake more money than he can do anything with. His inventory is already full. I think I give him like, I forget how much I give them. I give him like 4 or 5K. I give Hyzel around that much, I think. And then I put money into Mana Shield or something, maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe not. I don't even go back. Yeah, Mana Shield's only level 5, so it's not very efficient. And that's when you absolutely have to level up really to get much use out of it. I don't think my mana regeneration was really at a point where I could have abused it too much. Like I would need to replace maybe the boots and the God Orb with masks or something. But I was curious how well it would work in this situation because I didn't use it very often. This is going to be a situation where I think it's going to fuck me up because Stake is going to ignore HKS completely. And I brought up the thing and I was like, oh, I have no mana. Whereas if I didn't use it, I actually might have killed HKS. But Stake only came down there afterwards and doesn't even kill him. Oh, wait, he got blocked. Oh, no, he doesn't kill him. Bill also did a little bit of damage with Shockwave, but I don't think it was very high level. So that was one of those cases where I was like, yeah, I'm going to be fighting him. I can't have Mana Shield up because it's not going to do anything besides make it harder to fight. Because I might have killed him. If I had enough mana to use Fork Lightning and Carrion Swarm plus a Chain Lightning, it would have killed him for sure. It's arguable that the reduction from the Mana Shield kept me alive that long. But if I just rotated my abilities calmly, I might have just killed him. But I couldn't because I had no mana, so. Of course, in an ideal world, Steak would have turned around and bashed him, right? So. But you can't always depend people to be paying attention in this, as you've seen many times. It's kind of part and parcel over the whole thing. Oh, imagine if Ricky had a potion of speed. He may not need it though. I think Sig was saying that the Doomguard like lost abilities every level up. I ran into him here, but I was out of there. I went back, waited for mana. I didn't have to really worry about him diving me in my base. And then a High Zealot came up. All I had to do was poke him enough for High Zealot to dive in if he wanted to, but he didn't want to when there was two of them, I guess. He actually bought 2 eggplants. I'm not sure if that's because he ever used them on allies. I didn't see it. But maybe he just wanted it just for the agility. Just was stacking agility. Oh, into the creep wave he goes. Oh shit, cripple. It doesn't last very long. Oh, now he's stuck. He's stuck, he's spinning. He's stuck on a rod. Sick, can't even get to. That was funny. You could have just like attacked one of the minions. Thought Lolly died. He died really fast too. Like I remember that one. Just kind of like shot him and he fell over because I don't think he has any items. This tower is still over here. All right, let's check our stats now. So I'm not actually lead in kills. HKS has 5. Thigh Lolly actually is their second highest up at 4. But both Steak and High Zealot are at 13 and I'm at 11. Even Ricky has 5. Look at that damage. But he can sustain through it. And I ran out of mana because of mana shield. Otherwise I might have been able to finish him off. But I have 1,000 CS, so Bill's been catching up. But I'm ahead of him now. When he used to have such a huge lead on me. Q's doing all he can to keep them alive. Bill very, very close to die during that. Oh, he is healing now. High Zealot is our healer. And then again, HKS just like charges forward and nobody is there to help him. By the time he realizes his mistake, it's too late. Bill Light gets tapped and loses a chunk of his health. And he's fucked. Steak is like, fuck this push, I'm going home. And he's like our primary damage building to buildings. He wanted Doom level 3, I guess. This is some beetles. The beetles are now level 6. Yeah, Thought Lola came down here and died instantly too. Thought Lola has a little operation going on in that. He's re-established himself in that creep camp. So High Zealot goes back. It's just me here, and I was like, yeah, I probably don't want to fight anyone there alone anyways. So I'm not sure I ever level Mana Shield again. Oh, it is level 6 now. Bill came down here, he got entangled and died. The Ricky clones are giving them some grief. Ricky wisely killed the sorceress, or I was going to teleport in there and kill him. Ricky died instantly, and then, wait for it. Oh. 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 That was silly. The Doomguard level 3 is not... Oh, he does have 14 armor, so he's got a lot of armor. It's only a 64% damage reduction with the Devotion Aura. On the other hand, he does receive benefits from the Depression Aura. I don't know, though. For level 3, kind of figured he'd have higher stats. I guess it depends how good his spells are. I think he mostly got him just for cripple and killing the buildings. It is chaos damage. So you can see HKS is trying to maneuver around here, and I figured, well, I'm going to have to deal with it. I'm going to deal with it. Just let High Zealot kill him. Oh, High Zealot used the healing on me. He was trying to heal people with that other eggplant. He is the group healer. That is so sassy. I couldn't even believe he just ran up to us. And I didn't even know how to respond, so he just walked away. That time he didn't get away, though. And Ricky charges forward. Stake is just like spinning around on the minions. There's still towers being built everywhere. And then I died. Ricky, I guess, provided emotional support. Sort of. I mean, Ricky could have used thunderclap, but he didn't even try to. 92 gold. It's alright, High Zealot has returned. It just keeps trickling in. 10 gold. Oh. 1 gold.
Our forces are under attack.
Q like provides a head pad. This is 1 gold. I finally upgrade mana shield again.
Our forces are under attack.
Artificial Knight Lameo. Oh. Nope. Q's getting harassed. Have 69 gold. HKS like dove in to try to kill Ricky.
Our forces are under attack.
Enemy appeared, enemy disappeared. It's like a magic trick.
Our forces are under attack.
Once you see him, now you don't. Plugs his head into the ground. It's like being flushed down a toilet. I never bothered to mess around with my items any further. Wasn't really necessary. Just needed to not get murdered by HKS. So I didn't notice Q was running an operation over there. It was emotionally upsetting to me. Oh man, I'm not sure Thought Lolly ever quite realized that the Frenchman was getting bagels onto him. Every now and then you'd see Q like pop his head out of there. And we would try to kill him, but he was running a little operation over there. HKS got murdered. We kind of couldn't really do anything else besides kill them as they came out of their base. You know, Ricky is trying to save the bottom lane. Got him and got the pee on. Got peed on. Put a stop to that madness. There's still 2 towers there though. No one ever doubts with this shit down there. Oh yeah. Lily just like respawns and dies. Meanwhile, the one mortar team with this plus 69 is just chilling out. Ricky had reincarnation, apparently. Level 2. Each kid's like barely escapes with like 100 health. We never got upgraded minions. The special needs ones. So we never actually had a strong push into their base in the entire game. It was just the slow incidental pushes. That once we once we finally got high levels of damage, we could actually kill them and stay inside of their base. And very, very, very slowly wear it down with nothing but a herring. Oh, he's got wards. Level 3. The stake charges in the tank, the castle, and everything related. I just wanted Thigh Loli. But oh yeah, I had mana shield up. And it ate all my mana, and I couldn't kill him. And there was just like suddenly an emu there. Like that's what it was like in the game too, because I was watching a stake, and there was just like suddenly an emu behind us, and he just like instantly died. He has 6 axes in his inventory. Meanwhile, Q is still building towers. And, I don't even need to explain what happened there. HKS went in the lane and got sat on. We were just like chilling up here, just waiting for people to come to us. But really, the real danger was Q and his tower farm that was slowly growing. And they finally got that tower. It's all over now. Bill. Oh, High Zealot didn't finish him. High Zealot wants Ricky is. Oh. Thought Loli has appeared. Oh, Ricky died but reincarnated. I want to Thought Loli. There you are, I got him. Nope, there, Ricky. Ricky finally actually died. Oh, shit. Alright, that was a long game. A long game. Whew. That's my start to today, other than going to the hospital. So, as you can see, I did indeed at the end skyrocket ahead. And the units killed with 500, just shy of 500 over Bill. They had a really strong early game because of Bill, but I feel like Bill really wasn't trying to actively abuse that. Maybe he really just wasn't in a position to do so. But I kind of feel like his decision to go Blizzard slowed down, because that's resources that should have gone into Flame Strike. You know, because the Blizzard never really did much damage, and it didn't really help him that much, I feel like. The changes to the lumber overall, well, I think it's kind of early to say overall. Obviously, early game's a mess because of that. So HGS thought about dropping the cost of lumber, which might help a little bit. So I think Entangle might last slightly too long. Because I'm used to like World of Warcraft or Entangle, whatever, as a root, and you can still like cast spells or whatever. You can't do that in this. It's basically a stun. So I think it lasts too long.